Hey guys, this is Hansen from the North Pole. Hoping to do more videos going forward now as I am starting full time in the crypto industry. Uh, I am also interested in the Catalyst voting and governance on Cardano, and I decided that I just want to give a few of my thoughts for this round voting on one topic I enjoy. It's the Accelerate Decentralized Identity part of the fund because I was part of the Atala Prism program where we work on these decentralized digital identifiers. And so I feel I have a bit background at least to understand those type of projects. But before that, we go into a bit about like some of the projects I like there, and hopefully in the future I will do more of these updates in advance. And what I also would like to do is like I feel it's missing some form of data aggregation. Like you have this massive amount of projects on Catalyst, and no one is trying to really show like what geographic locations are these projects on, what's really the budget, like in a simple form so you can compare easily. Some form of reputation of the team members behind it in an easily visual way to read, so you can have like a glance and then you can look at this project, this I want to look more carefully at, and that's a more efficient way I guess to get an overview and involve more people so we have better basically group thinking processes. So that's more of my long-term goal with this video series on voting, is to try to look into that part of the aspect now, data aggregation. But anyways, voting on Catalyst. So what is that actually? It's like a form of voting called cardinal voting, where each project is giving a rating. So it's rated based on the yes, no, or abstain, and basically how many yeses and how many nos. And it's also what we call fuzzy threshold because you have to also fit into a budget. So even you are voted highly rated, and from one project or from one voting round to the next, you could have a higher rated project. But if there's not enough funds available, it doesn't matter. So that's interesting that you could have if the budget is smaller or one project takes more of the budget in one round than even in another round if a project had more votes in that previous round, but the budget didn't last, then they will lose out to another project that maybe in the next round have less votes, but there's more to go in the budget. Um, for me, that means something about like how I will proceed with this no type of vote. Um, a no vote, that's quite an interesting social experiment because I think it's very unrealistic that you will have many people who will go through every project and decide, oh no, I don't like this project and just this project or this project I like. No votes will generally, maybe some few will be very strongly opinionated and have the time and means to go through all the projects and know, and some will just on pure spite, like, oh, I want my vote to weight the highest, but press no on everything else, and that's definitely not ideal because what you get then is like no thought at all behind the no vote, and that's not good in my opinion, because you want people to think what they're voting. So for me, as in my social interpretation of how we should use this no vote, it's like it's something you would do to vote unrealistic projects, projects that are damaging to the Catalyst platform or to the Cardano ecosystem, and projects. I guess you would. Also, if there's something you have a strong dislike against, like you feel this is taking the project in a wrong direction, and for me, I'm going to reserve it to projects that I feel are detrimental to the Cardano ecosystem, because what I don't like, someone else could like. So my preferences should not be the real judge of a no vote. Should be like there's some objective measures that this project is not good, and I will rather upvote good projects. But there will be many people who will say that voting yes to the project you want and voting no to the competitors is good because you have a higher chance of succeeding with your vote and getting your influence and your ideas through. And that's okay. That's also a way to think about this voting. But again, for me, it's like a voting of no there should be a thought behind it. There should be a reason behind it. So that's the only thing I advise anyone to do is like think carefully about voting no and don't just do it to everything. Do it because there's a reason why you vote no. But anyways, that was the voting part of it, and I guess I will go into that a lot more in the future if this is some video series you guys like. I will be experimenting with many types of video series, but if you like this, I can definitely do more contents on voting and voting theory and also on Cardano governance. But I also wanted to have a look at some of the projects. So let's go back to that. The Accelerated Decentralized Identity category. So what we want to do is we want to use all the great framework that's been established with Apollo Prism. So basically they're using a programming language Kotlin, and through this you can easily register the decentralized digital identifiers, and you can easily make issuers and verifiers and holders of credentials, and that's a lot of power. And actually ethics behind it too, like when would you do this and to whom and who would you actually trust. Even in a decentralized system, you have to have some form of thinking about like who would you trust in such a system, and probably preferably to be more than one single entity you should trust. I really like this category as it's something that I feel can unconnect or not unconnect, but make a lot of more possibilities into what was formerly there's a financial part of the ecosystem and connect it to other means. And two of my favorite projects because of that is open source identity wallets and open source account verifiers. So with open source identity wallets, you can basically tie an identity, and it's building an open source framework. It's to tie identities to a wallet, to the economic means, and of course, for me that's a no-brainer. Like if you can do that as an open framework, and some of the tons of great wallet products out there in Cardano could adopt that, that opens a lot of potential things you can do. The moment you can tie an identity to economic means, you can do a lot of things. Um, I also think in that project the developers seem relatively experienced, and they have both attended all the different courses, Plutus and Natal Prism, and had prior knowledge before that. And this is just a 12 months framework that to me as basic knowledge in the Natal Prism course seems reasonable. And when it comes to the open source account verifier team, they seem capable. Granted, they are more. Some of them are more younger programmers with less experience, but they have also experienced programmers. And I really like they are actually collaborating with the open source identify wallet team. So basically, these two projects are collaborating. And the budget is very small. The total budgets for this category was over 400,000 ADA, and together these two combine ask for less than 100,000 of that. So I feel it has a lot of bang for the buck or value to support this project, as it is something anyone else can pick up on and do more with, as it will be open source frameworks. I also like two other projects, like the verifiable credential trees. So it also has a relatively small budget, under 50,000 US dollars. And the developers actually seems to be collaborating with the Bank of Portugal. And what they're doing is like they are making a program structure where you can tie the digital identifiers in very efficient tree, like Merkle tree structure, I guess. And they can then also make sure that like, for example, the bank issues it to a sub-government, a financial, and the sub-government can then again issue it to its sub-organizations, and through this digital identifiers, they can actually verify that, oh, this person should have access to this part of the funds or the means. And for me, that is also a very cool project. And my final pick, but I will say there was many great picks. My final pick will definitely be global identity and authentication. It's a big team, IMAX, behind it. They seem to have already built the hardware. They are going to have terminals as issuers, hardware terminals, and it's rolling out in Ghana, I believe. Seems IMAX is doing these identifier solutions in other countries, but they want to ask for money to roll it out in Ghana. And they are going to do then free biometric identity. So that's something that has an element of, I will not call it charity, but empowering these people. I really like that. And it's also a great way to pilot and roll out these solutions so we can see it on bigger scale and get more experience with it, and testing and stress testing at our prison, I guess. So I like that as well. With that said, I didn't see any projects in this category I would downvote. There were some projects withdrawn, and maybe for the better, but there was no projects I would downvote, and there was a lot of great projects. And for example, some interesting projects in especially two regions, Ethiopia, or two countries, Ethiopia and Ghana, that maybe people can look into. And I believe if any of these projects succeeded, it will be actually a great benefit to the Cardano ecosystem. So I know there's only one day left to vote, but I hope maybe this still is interesting, and maybe I could start to produce more contents like this in the future. If any of you find it interesting, then I can try to aggregate a bit data and try to make it an easy, small, time-consuming way of having an overview of the projects, so you can make up your own means. Okay, that was this small video. See you again.